We started rolling.
Two lessons.
I believe we have.
All right.
Yeah.
To episode 35 of the ThinkShack, HighShack, RawShack.
So the Mango Durban Shack.
It's El Nino season, so I don't know. We're having this conversation. Does the cold make people sick, or is it just people are more susceptible to getting sick?
And I told you that the cold actually makes people sick, and I believe you Googled it and you found that it does.
It turns out it's sort of true. So if you're in your pillow, or not in your pillow, but in your like bed or on your couch watching this, sneezing, we are one. We stand with you. Actually, we're three. This is Jean.
Three.
That's number one.
And this is Ramsey.
And we have a special guest here. The person who makes all this possible.
So my name is Cliff, and I'm a Black African entrepreneur, and I'm glad to be on ThinkShack.
These days, you have to specify that you're a Black African. Not like before when you could just say you were African, everyone assumed you were Black, because Elon Musk is African too.
Did you know that?
But he ain't Black.
Yeah.
know?
I don't even think he's white. He's like a weird species of human being.
That's also like what you call yourself on Medium, right? Like you sent a Medium link in the WhatsApp
group,
and then I checked it out, and it's like I saw you writing about some of the burdens of being a Black entrepreneur.
So for those of you who don't know, Medium is a platform where you can go and write your own blogs.
Yeah, just like
talk about races.
It's very unique.
An interesting fact about Medium, it was actually started by one of the founders of Twitter back in 2012. But just something you said concerning the mask color. How many colors in terms of races are there?
Well, first of all, a small point of correction. Not to be pedantic, as Ramsey would say, but there's only one race, is the human race. So if you're talking about ethnicities, I'd say probably like 5. So it's black, white, yellow. Well, there's 3, I think.
Yellow.
That's what they call it. No, I mean, listen.
Yeah.
Black, we're not black. Neither of us is black here. But it's called black. White. Nobody's as white as a piece of paper. So yellow.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So
is there a color called
black,
brown?
white,
Yeah, there's brown.
There's brown as well.
Indians, yeah. Indians and Filipinos and...
Yeah.
And then there's...
to chocolate.
Then that's 4 colors: black, white, yellow, and brown.
Yes, so 4.
Yeah.
Or is that the case? Or?
I feel like we just came up with a very medieval way, very crude and uncivilized way of categorizing.
And the yellows and the browns.
Yeah, exactly.
Put them in a
Sounds so
boiling
racist,
pot.
all of it.
Yeah, it sounds like a witch.
Yeah. So anyway, you were telling us the struggles of being a Black entrepreneur.
Yeah, I did write an article on Medium, and as John put it, Medium is a platform where you can write articles. It's from the States. It's an interesting place because it's also like a social network where, different from having a blog, your article can go up and down in the algorithm of Medium and get more views. So it's a platform that I've been using for a while now. I believe the last 4 years.
What's the name of your blog for those watching?
I actually don't have a blog right now.
I mean,
but I publish on Medium as myself, as Cliff.
Okay.
So my name is Cliff Amani. Again, I'm a Black African entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I think that's what I identify as. I identify as a Black African.
That's already
so what are some of the problems that Black African entrepreneurs face?
Well, for one, there's a ceiling. Probably it's just the rest. Probably it's just being Black. Probably it's the mentality you have. But it's almost like there's a ceiling to how high and successful you can become.
Okay.
And probably the specific article I wrote, I don't know if you got a chance to go through it.
Yeah, I quickly skimmed through it.
All of the writing that I've done on Medium, I do it more of as a self-reflection and also as I just journal my experience.
Yeah.
So it may be wrong, it may be right, depending on how you look at it, but that's just my experience.
Could you define the ceiling a bit more? Because I'm curious, like with an example.
I'll have to explain how other races in the continent approach business first.
Right.
That's why you asked.
Yeah, I think maybe just as the start of the interview, maybe I should say part of what I'm doing entrepreneurship-wise. I am the founder of PodSTART.
Yeah.
Our studio partners.
Yeah.
Literally where we're recording right now. So Cliff, it is.
So PodSTART does offer convenience for podcasters, especially in the country, but we're hoping to work with podcasters from all over the world.
Yeah, exactly. And you've already recorded a lot of podcasts here.
I think it's probably part of a personality problem that I have, but I do have an obsessive personality. When I'm doing something, I go all in. And so for the last 5 5.5 months probably, my life has been all PodSTART. It's all I've been thinking about when I wake up. Every strategy that I come up with, it's regards to PodSTART.
Yeah.
The new people that I meet, have been able to meet amazing people like ThinkShack, John and Ramsey.
Yeah.
We're amazing.
And the amazing team that I also work out. Shout out to everybody who has assisted us.
Yeah. Gab behind the camera. And we have Kolo
today and every other
Kolo on
person.
the decks.
So like I guess
okay. When I was growing up, there were certain things that were taboo, like talking about money. If you grew up in a household like mine with a typical African dad, you wouldn't talk about money in the sense that you wouldn't even know how much he actually earns. But it's different in other communities. I had friends who were Asian, Indian, and they would tell me about their experiences where their father would maybe open a bookshop or a hardware store or something, and they would let them man the books. They would literally be 10 years old, recording cash transactions and understanding how much the business makes, and they consider the father did this and did that. In addition to that, there's also a level of pride that comes from taking over a business that was started by your grandfather, given to your father, then now it's given to you and you're now tasked with it. And even how they approach school is different.
It goes down generational.
Because black Africans are normally like, oh, go to school and study, go and be an engineer.
Yeah.
Mostly it's because so that you can make a lot of money and take the family out of hardship, which is not bad. But the way the other communities approach is more like, go and study engineering so that you can lead the engineering team that you're in the company that your father started, and you're going to take over the company in a few years.
Yeah.
So there's a level of pride to it. And then, so what it means is that when you start a business in any of these African communities, which are not black, you are given tools in terms of knowledge, in terms of expertise, and in terms of help from your family. As a black African entrepreneur, and again, this could be different from case to case, but from what I've noticed, there's a lot of problems that comes when you start a business. Let me pose a question to both of you. Can either one of you name a successful black African family business?
Well,
and a coach.
They were successful until they weren't, because I can immediately think of Tuskies.
I actually wanted to comment on Tuskies specifically. Do you have any examples?
Tuskies is the first thing that came to
I don't
mind.
know, you could say, there's one I had in mind, but okay, do you consider Africans like the pure Africans, or even
It's so funny because it's so hard to think of them. But tell me to name Indian ones.
I was gonna say Chandarana or something.
Because the Indian ones are so easy to remember.
But again, it's because of the culture that they inculcate that favors business. As like the case of Tuskies, I don't know if this is what exactly happened, but from what it seemed, the successful black African businesses are not family businesses. They are businesses that maybe a father built and then eventually let it for the kids to handle. And then the kids just messed it all up because of many reasons. You can find even kids stealing money, engaging in fraudulent activities that would affect the whole business, and then it tumbles down. But the culture of this, I think similar, and they even accused the CEO for doing fraudulent activities.
That's actually what led to Tuska's collapse. It was all an inside thing,
Yeah, so basically, and also another weird fact that is also in other communities. I used to live in Mombasa.
Okay.
This is actually my second year in Nairobi.
If you recognize him and if you're from Mombasa, say Salama. Or how do they say it? Wanano.
Yeah.
Kaki. Put that in the comments.
But there's a you guys were in Coast. There's a term that guys from Mombasa refer to guys who are not from Mombasa or Coast. They say you want to talk bara.
Oh, bara. I've heard that. What to bara, sis?
I have never quite understood what that actually meant, but it means different things coming from different people. Because for some people, especially some guys, would say it in a demeaning way, like you're not one of us.
It's like a gringo.
Well, what bara means is continent. You're from the continent. Because in Swahili, we have bara na pwani. Pwani is the coast, the coastline, and bara is the continent.
Mainland.
Yeah, so it's like you're continental, you're coming from inland, you're not from the coast. That's literally what it means.
So basically, in some of these other communities, I've better just what I wanted to say. I stay, it's a little bit similar to Mombasa, in that the community has like Muslims. But partly is that the people in this community fall in the side of family business where they support each other.
Right.
And again, they're still blacks, small Somalis, and they're still blacks here, but their culture is a little bit different than other people.
You could say the Kenyan, for example. I think that's the one we have the most examples.
Just say that one more time.
The Kenyan one, I think.
The Kenyan ones.
Yeah, because other Africans you find are very different. But even within the Kenyans, there's a subset. But in general, I agree with
so
you.
there's a level of support they get when they start a business. Like, let's say you belong to this particular community, and then you start you start a hardware shop. They will inform everybody in their community.
That just sounds like a fancy place to sell dildos.
You sell hardware.
Yeah, they would literally inform everybody in their community that from today, henceforth, everybody is going to buy all their hardware materials from
Software
this person. And then now you, as the owner of the hardware, you're entitled basically to provide the best possible service. Because all this business is going to come to you.
Right.
And like now on our side of the community, where we have this competition even amongst our own siblings and amongst our families, we're not able to support each other fully.
There's a concept about around that we were talking about with Jean this morning. It's like we love memes. Literally, the whole essence of ThinkShack is exploring memes to their extremes.
Just before you talk about memes, Ramsey, can I read a little excerpt from the article titled "The Curse of the Black African Family Business: A Racial Divide in Entrepreneurship." That's one. And two, there's an article I wrote yesterday night, I published today in the morning.
What's it called?
I would like to read a little bit of an excerpt.
Go ahead.
It's in regard to podcasting, actually.
Go ahead.
So first, the excerpt on the curse of the Black African family business. So this excerpt, I've titled it "The Ideal Family Business." Rather than the pretentious tolerance of family members, the ideal family business members are very welcoming and supportive of each other. The family must have open and honest conversations about finance, strategy, and innovation that will scale up the business. This family can only thrive in the market by implementing strong business values and incorporating discipline and grit in their business. Okay, so let me read another excerpt from an article titled "Why You Should Write, Document, or Start a Podcast for Your Business." I'm only reading the first section. This article emphasizes the crucial role of content creation and podcasting for businesses. Whether you're a marketing manager, a chief executive, or an aspiring entrepreneur, you should consider creating content for your organization or business. Content creation exists in a space that allows you to market and promote without it feeling like marketing and promotion. There are various methods of content creation, but based on my bias, I'd urge you to start a podcast. What's a podcast? A podcast is a digital medium made for audio or visual consumption on the internet, which can be downloaded or streamed. Just like a TV show, a podcast can be structured into a series of episodes or even seasons that cover.
The way I like to think of it is a podcast is like a small radio station.
And literally, the history of podcasts is in the late 90s. It started with internet radio. And then, when the RSS system of sharing, like RSS, like if you have an RSS feed, like
that's old school technology for you Gen Zs.
Yeah, but it's still working. Like if I post on Anchor FM, it uses RSS to also post on Apple Podcasts.
To distribute it.
Yeah, exactly. So like RSS stands for really simple syndication. And when they had the enclosures, so you could also load files into the syndication signal, then it became possible for people to start their own internet radios and
Can you expound on how syndication works?
I'm not entirely sure about the details, but it's a kind of protocol for sharing information, I believe.
Okay, I think there's
websites.
different definitions of syndication. In this sense, I think from what I've heard is where you, try and promote podcasts, or try and promote digital content creators.
Let me finish the last section again. Long gone are the days when marketing at a high level could only be done by companies/corporate entities with huge budgets. Currently, the internet has disrupted the marketing industry as we know it. My name is Cliff. I believe in the expression and creation of content.
Do you say your name in literally every
not every article.
Not
every article, but I don't know. It's kind of interesting.
So there's
some people have actually pointed it out.
There's never any cliffhangers as to who it is. You always know who it is.
Cliffhangers.
There's never any cliffhangers.
It's more about giving the reader perspective on who I am and why I'm writing it.
Yeah.
Probably why I know a little bit.
No, absolutely. I mean, it makes sense.
Plus
We're just being facetious.
Plus is his style as well. You know Banksy? You know about Banksy, the guy who did graffiti earlier? Yeah, he sells his art now for millions of dollars. But then he was just signing his stuff like Banksy. I don't know why he became popular, but that was his signature.
Yeah.
But I mean, eventually.
No, now that I think about it, I think I've done it in 2 articles.
Oh, okay.
Curse of the Black, and this
The
one.
Curse
too.
of the Black Pearl.
And actually, the last time
Sounds like an interesting poem.
the last time I wrote an article before, like 20 hours ago.
This guy hasn't watched Pirates of the Caribbean. That's why he literally doesn't recognize the Curse of the Black Pearl.
I know.
Oh yeah.
And like it sounds like a
No, but go into it. I'm sorry.
porno. Anyway,
I mean, it might be a parody.
I believe in the expression and creation of content at your own terms. On your own terms, and I'm here to talk about podcasting. Over the last few years, content creation and podcasting have become increasingly important in the world of business. It's hard to ignore the impact of content creators, more specifically podcasters, concerning online influence. By creating engaging content, businesses can attract potential customers and retain existing ones. Content creation can also help establish businesses to become thought leaders in their respective industries. Last section. Podcasting has become a great tool and path to connect with audiences on a more personal level and build brand loyalty. Starting a podcast can help you demonstrate your expertise and provide valuable insights to listeners. In short, the future of marketing revolves around content creation, and the world of content creation revolves around podcasting. With a world full of surprises, we're here to see the heights that podcasts like the Joe Rogan Experience or ThinkShack will reach. I'm excited about the future of this new industry, and I'm looking forward to listening and observing the growth of podcasts from all over the world.
So podcast, would you say? Would you say
I kind of
podcast?
feel like this. I don't know why I feel this weird urge to clap.
Oh,
Yes. We can clap actually.
actually
As long as we use hands.
Medium actually has claps, and that's the
Yeah, exactly. It's so the last.
Would you say that
90 claps?
would you say that podcasting helps you build influence?
It does. Podcasters are gonna be the new age of rockstars in the future.
Okay, so
You know what else helps you
trivia.
build
Here's a
influence?
quick trivia.
I want to transition.
No. Before
we get under the influence of alcohol.
that, here's a quick trivia. Who coined the term podcast?
I actually don't know. The first time I ever saw the word podcast was in 2011. I had this little Sandisk.
It was like, aha!
player.
I revealed myself.
And I
I
saw
am the
one-
word podcast. You have seen me for the first time.
Yeah. I don't know who came up with the word though.
The guy who came up with the word is like a journalist called Ben Hammersley.
Guys, in case you didn't know, Ramsey is high. Like, that's what that was.
Which year was the word coined? Or when
It was
the
in
first
2004.
Oh, really?
I used to think that podcast came from, back when iPods were so popular.
Yeah, because
And then because you'd listen to internet radio on your iPod, they'd call it like a podcast. It's like the iPod version of a broadcast. So
I
it's
never
like a
had any.
portmanteau.
I never had any thoughts on it. Weirdly enough,
What?
never had any thoughts on the word podcast.
You've never had any thoughts?
I just thought it was like that by convention.
I mean, it's a portmanteau, so it's always interesting to want to know where did this
For sure.
come from, It's like,
For sure.
like, why would you not say broadcast? Why would you say podcast? It's like PodSTART. As soon as I heard their name, I was like, I need to figure out what the logic was. And then I figured, I will help you start your podcast. So,
it's a really nice
it's like a kind of like a little detective game you play.
In case you guys missed it, PodSTART helps budding content creators get out there. They have the equipment, they have the space. The studio is in South. You can give the location. Some people just like to show up without any calls or whatever.
Yeah.
Where is the studio located?
So, anyways.
No, where is the studio located?
The studio is located in Nairobi,
It's located
Kenya.
in mwaki.
We are currently on Mombasa Road in South Sea.
Then
We
let's
are
stop it.
available portably as well.
Yeah. So
Mwaki.
they can come to you.
This
Alright,
is
guys.
my version of a segment. Let's
No,
talk about
we
mwaki.
were
It's
supposed to
literally
do
the
an
brief.
alcohol review. Let's at
Okay.
least bring the alcohol to the table.
I wish we had a Bluetooth screen so we could play mwaki in the studio.
Swaki.
Swaki.
The
This is
song,
mwaki,
the
so
new
it's
song
like a
that's
toothbrush,
going
isn't it?
viral.
Mwaki.
Like a viral.
Did you say
viral
the song
disease.
was the most
Alright,
viral
Rams,
song
what are
in
we
the
starting
world?
with? Castle or what? Sierra?
I don't know if it was the most viral though. I don't
not
remember
really.
saying that. I feel like
That
I
was
feel like
the
I'm
brief,
accused.
and I was like, damn. Though I checked the streams are pretty wild. On Spotify, it's crazy.
So like the I guess the question is here, like what made it go viral? What is it about the song Mwaki that makes it such an earworm?
Because it sounds like Mwaki Baki.
I think it's the duality of
Mafia
the...
cuckoo. What?
It's like an oxymoron. You hear the Kikuyu language in the background with the house. Is that EDM house instrument?
But I mean,
Yeah, it's EDM.
I don't know if you guys have heard this Amapiano song in Kikuyu called Dayu. It's the shittiest song you'll ever hear in your life. And I'm sorry for the creator of the song, but you have no talent.
No, but
And you should stop making music. immediately. Cease and desist.
Be a farmer or something.
Right.
But like seriously,
Die.
what do you think made mwaki go viral?
I've been asking myself that question ever since I started seeing it in TikTok reels, although I'm not on TikTok. Because gangsters don't use TikTok.
Could it be the fusion of electronic beats, which is so possible?
John, are you on TikTok?
No. There's just ThinkShack is on TikTok.
What is it?
No, your personal
It's
account.
like
No, I don't know. Well, shit, I opened
there's
the
a
wrong
tendency to see guys on TikTok as gay motherfuckers.
Yeah, there is. I think there is.
Juvenile. Imagine Chayaka on TikTok. Like when you tell a girl that
challenge.
when you tell a girl that she gets really offended.
Yo, what the fuck? These things are not made up.
Chayaka anafanya ceiling challenge.
Oh yeah. Woo. There goes the cherry. You should please pass this to Random.
Why do they have to make it sound like a fucking gunshot? Like, that's so.
It's part of the celebration, though. Like, how will you know it's champagne? We were saying it's packaging, but really, that's
how
like
exactly
sparkling
did
water.
you open this with this? Because
Use physics, and no. Like a regular bottle opener, so it look like this. That side, facing that way.
this side.
Then pry it open, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
Lever action.
Ushamba. Imenisumbua.
Well, actually, that's still not the correct way. Let me do it for you.
It's not getting any
Clearly,
better.
Ramsey has never used an opener.
My brain is broken.
He only drinks fine champagne. There you go. It's physics.
I mean, quite frankly, even champagne is a trouble for me to open.
It's open.
Anything with
Wait.
a cork.
Let me help you guys out. It's my weird
This is
Swiss
like a
Army
real
knife.
problem we're solving together. You know,
It's my Swiss
we're
Army
such a
knife.
great
It's kind
team
of,
here.
weird here.
Just passing it over.
John is
Wait,
the
shit.
opening expert.
Ramsey, I think you broke it. Yeah, you broke it.
What?
Yeah, you did. Wait, what?
How the fuck did I break it?
It's twisted and shit. Like, what the fuck? Oh. I mean, you're trying to open it the weird way, so.
You literally bought that set today.
Not today, but like over the week. But you see, it's crooked. When you were doing this. But anyways, my poor Swiss Army knife is shit. It's like
40 minutes later. This is like the perfect place to have that 40 minutes later. Because we've just like had a whole conversation around trying to open one bottle of beer. Like, literally, that's just occupied the past I don't know how many minutes.
yeah, you broke it.
It did?
Yeah.
Kind of feel like you're saying it like maliciously.
No, but you did. Look,
Accusing.
look, it's crooked.
No, I agree. It's just the way you say it. It's like you really want to. It's like, it's broken. You know, it's like, it's so accusing.
Maybe I am. Now I won't be able to open anything else. In my whole life.
I mean, you bought it for $250, man.
You buy another one for me then.
Okay, fine, I will. Just show me the place and come.
You think I can find it?
They just stumble upon
You have
it.
too much faith in me. Alright, so what are we drinking
The
today?
song Mwaki is about a strict father who didn't want the daughter to marry someone that she wanted to marry. And
Father Abraham.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's like I was saying, maybe it's the fusion of like electronic beats, which are like global in popularity, with something that sounds so natively African. You know, it's like that. What he was calling an oxymoron.
I've said Father
The
Abraham.
musical version of
I've
an
said
oxymoron.
Father Abraham, and I remember the nursery rhyme we used to grow up as kids. So we used to say, Father Abraham had many sperms. I am one of them, and so are you.
You were
Because it's like a
bunch
straight
of
father.
juvenile. Okay. Cliff.
yes.
So you said one of the problems that you face as
What was that? What's that? What is it? I'm sorry, please continue.
Contain your highness. It's the fact that I just drank through this and now it's stuck to my lips.
Let's talk about the pole. I'm sorry, I stopped. Alright, let's go.
Oh wow, we are going hysterical on the
Oh,
side.
you were asking me something?
Yeah, like wow. Let me just give up on that.
Alright guys, just in case this skips you, like we're drinking Sierra Lager, which is an interesting beer because this is 500 ml and goes for how much?
220.
220. It's quite
It's
cheap.
like really well priced. I think this is Kenyan.
It tastes very Kenyan though. You can tell there's a
I
bit of
suspect it's Kenyan. I just don't know which.
there's a bit
brewery
of bitterness
made
to it. Like, but I love their logo. There's a crane running away from Chinese people. I think. I don't know.
What? There's a what?
Yeah, a crane running away from Chinese people.
Where did you see the crane in the Chinese?
So there's the crane. You can imagine it's running away from Chinese people.
It's actually
Too much
an
death.
ostrich. It's
Too much
not
death.
a crane, it's an ostrich.
Well, oh yeah, it's a flamingo. What is this, Cliff?
Yeah, it's an ostrich.
It's a flamingo. An ostrich doesn't run in the water.
beaks.
This is definitely an ostrich. You can tell that
What?
it's striding its legs.
Yeah, exactly. It's an ostrich.
Guys, oh yeah, it is. Okay, fine.
So, Sierra has an ostrich on
They
it.
Just
say
just a random question for both of you. Do you guys love animals? Are you animal lovers?
We love
Animal
bitches.
lovers sounds like
We love bitches.
It sounds like a polite way to say bestiality.
Yeah, we love
An
bitches.
Animal lover.
We love bitches. Anyways, but I'm not really an animal lover, to be honest.
I
I don't hate them.
Actually,
Or pets, like dogs.
I don't hate them.
I
but
wouldn't
just-
mind. Growing up, we had cats and dogs.
I've had a cat too, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. I had fun with them. That sounds wrong.
That sounds very wrong.
But like right now, I wouldn't get a pet because I live in a freaking apartment. If I had like a nice house with like a lawn and stuff, I would
Yeah.
love to.
What
get
about
a
a pet fish, like a goldfish in a little glass?
It seems a bit pretentious. Like, it's not
Yeah.
really a pet. You have the semblance of a pet.
It's prison.
It's like decor.
You look at it and then it
Yeah.
swims and you can't even have a relationship with it. You can't even pet it.
Here's
You
a-
pet it and you kill it.
Here's a thought. Here's a thought that will break your brain. The person who discovered water must not have been living in it, because like the same way you walk around, like right. This is literally the way fish experiences water. They don't see it. It's just like air to them.
Although not to shit on your point, but it's kind of obvious, really, because no human lives in water.
Well, yeah, but when you get into water, it's like there's a clear difference with the experience you're used to when you're in air. Like even the visibility and shit.
I guess I get what you're saying.
But to a fish, it's just like no. It feels like it's just going through
I
air.
suppose.
Let's get back on track. So about the podcast.
Back on the track.
I was saying, when you say one of the problems facing black entrepreneurs is having a ceiling, and then you also said the other one was like our families.
But it's connected. The ceiling is caused by the lack of infrastructure and support systems.
try
From
this,
the family.
And knowledge, and even your parents not having the like. There are certain things about black African parents that I just consider outright wrong. Even how they view finances.
Yeah.
The typical African parent will advise you financially and tell you to save and never take loans. I think that's terrible advice for somebody who wants to grow wealth.
The world is built on debt.
Yeah, the
Capitalism.
richest people, Elon Musk, when they want to buy a Twitter, let's say, they would take huge amounts of loan.
Hundreds
They
of
would-
millions of dollars.
When you want to build apartments, you would invest a little bit of money, get percentage in funding, probably 80-90% of it.
Just to minimize your
Yes,
risk.
yes, but a black African father would tell you like, no, never take loans because it will destroy you. It's because of the usage of the loans. The loans are not supposed to be used on consumption. It's supposed to be used as an add-on to your current investment. It's supposed to be used very strategically. You're supposed to be able to put yourself in a position to pay it regardless of the success or failure of that venture. So it's just as black African entrepreneurs, we just lack the knowledge.
Okay,
the know-how.
you want?
We are back, Ramsey. We are rolling.
Are we happy though?
No.
Perhaps we should study happiness in order to.
We're not drunk enough to be happy.
Ramsey, how important is it to be happy?
I don't think it's that important. I think happiness is great, but like you can't be permanently happy. You have moments of happiness.
Should you live life in the pursuit of happiness?
No, I
that's
don't think
literally hedonism.
Hedonism.
But
That's
then at the
literally
same
a
time,
movie title.
some
With
people,
Will Smith and some
Will Smith.
kid.
you know what else is the pursuit of happiness? A happiness degree. Like that's the
Yeah.
pursuit of a happiness degree.
Yeah. So who?
Yeah.
Wait, let me just check the
But I
name
don't know
again.
who
Who
that
was
guy
this that came back with a happiness degree?
I actually read the story, and initially I was criticized.
Former
I was
American
very critical of it, but I think it kind of makes sense when you put yourself in his shoes. This man was in
I
politics.
don't want to put myself in.
He was in
crisis
political
at
office
all.
for decades, and then he lost election, and he got depressed, and he was like, "What am I gonna do with my life? This is all I know. I only know how to be a politician."
Let's recap. Kirata Murungi is the one who used to throw stones, or is that that's another one? Waititu. I'm confusing it with Waititu. So who was Kirata Murungi? The guy for security?
He
The guy-
was governor of Meru. I believe he was like a minister at some point, probably.
Who's the guy that did that made Matatus have to wear uniform?
Oh no, that was Michoki.
Michuki. I was confused those names.
Okay, there's actually a formal degree. So I just asked ChatGPT. They gave me 3.5. I don't know why. I need my freaking GPT-4. But anyway, I asked you to explain what a happiness studies degree is. It's like a happiness studies degree, also known as a degree in positive psychology or well-being studies, is an academic program that focuses on the scientific study of happiness, well-being, and positive human experiences. It explores the factors that contribute to human flourishing and life satisfaction. So it's a
So what are you trying to achieve with the happiness degree? If you get certified in happiness,
I guess you kind of learn how to make other people
Does that mean you'll never
or advise other people on how to better be happy?
You know, if that's all you do, then you don't need a degree for that. You know how to make other people happy. You finger them. You don't need a degree for that.
Not all of them, not all genders.
Some.
No one's fingering me for sure. I don't care how depressed
that's not
I
a
am.
question, my good sir. Let's make it clear, no one's getting fingered here.
No, but like, okay, so I think it also does sound weirdly like a useless degree. It's kind of like
what would you compare it to?
Gender studies.
Yeah, what are you studying? There's only 2 genders. Or are there more? Let us know in the comments. How many genders are there?
Or I mean, you know, like students, like there's so many. There's a proliferation of degrees. There used to be a time when, I'm fascinated by is like the way knowledge has just like been fractured over the years. Before, like in Aristotle's time, it was just natural science. You know, nature. We're learning nature. And then a little later, it gets split between mathematics and the natural sciences, right? And then a little later, it gets split further. Now you got biology, physics, and chemistry. And then biology gets split further. You got microbiology. You've got bioengineering. The more we learn, the more categories we create. So that eventually, there are probably going to be an infinite number of categories in some distant future.
Is that a good or a bad thing?
I think the way I was thinking about it was that it to me it looks very entropic. It's like disorder. It's like the more we try to make our knowledge, our body of knowledge orderly, because that's what categorization is, right? And specialization, the more we make it disorderly. Because there used to be a time when you could sit down and read a bunch of books and sort of know everything the world knew about a natural science, or like master several things at once, you know? Like back in the 1200s or 1300s, you could be tutored and learn all of this stuff at once.
Personally, my feelings on it are like before.
But now
like
no
1900s.
single person can learn everything, even
Like,
in biology, let alone all the sciences.
Like in the 1900s, you had the branches of science that exist today, or the branches of study that exist today weren't there. But it's all a matter of time, really. It's the same progression that we had to bring all these branches of science like psychology. Before that wasn't a thing. So even happiness studies will have a purpose sometime down the line. So I don't think it's a bad thing.
Let me ask you both a question in regards to education. What do you think about the system of education, specifically the system of education that we go through as Black African Kenyans?
Well, it depends. There's different ones.
If it's the 844, I thought that was bullshit. Personally.
Why is that? Why do you think it's bullshit?
Because it doesn't train you to be curious and learn and be self-motivated. It trains you to cram and memorize.
And
so
be
you can,
individualistic. And
it trains you to cram and memorize and spit it out on an exam.
And regurgitate what you just crammed the previous night.
Exactly.
And you don't learn real skills. You don't learn skills that will
I felt very
benefit
stifled
you.
in that system. I like to be able to exercise my creativity.
John, how was your experience?
So I didn't do 844. I did like a Belgian system, but my argument would be it's kind of the same because it was like you have to do every single course. But then there was some practical elements to it. Like instead of the final exam, what we would do is you would have 2 tests. One was called jury, where you would stand before a panel of like a few different high school teachers and would ask you any random question between from your last 6 years of high school. So their thinking was, if you understand something, you should be able to teach it. And then the second phase was from a course called pedagogy. So you had to teach.
It's like teaching structures.
Yeah, you had to teach kids from the primary school, in different lessons. So I think that was a good one.
What's one unique subject that you probably learned in that system?
That's the one I'm talking about, psychopedagogy. And then there's also philosophy. We learned philosophy in high school, which was a really good thing. But apart from that, we also had to do a lot of cramming and everything. Like with maths, we had economics and I don't know what else.
I switched over from 844 to the IGCSE around
there was still some cramming to do, right?
I found that the way the material was structured, the textbooks and the way they presented it was way more interesting than what I was getting from 844 textbooks.
But then before this escapes us, Cliff doesn't actually drink alcohol, so we're having something called
grape juice. It's literally
white
just grape juice.
Yeah, but it doesn't have a name.
1857.
1857.
That's what you
So here's the funny thing: it says 100% non-alcoholic, as if there's something like 98% non-alcoholic. If it has 1% of alcohol, it's alcohol.
Is it 98% non-alcoholic?
No, they say 100% alcohol.
Is it 98% non-alcoholic, or is it 2% alcohol?
You guys have tried it?
Yeah, I'm drinking it right now to chase the Sierra. Sierra tastes kind of meh.
Like, I kind of find that rather a weird roundabout way to say things. Like, instead of saying 100% non-alcoholic, why don't you just say 0% alcohol?
Exactly.
Ramsey, you want to try some?
Such a roundabout way. Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah. So, like I was saying, for us, like, the textbooks were a lot more interesting. The knowledge was a lot more interesting. And there was more freedom to try different things. Like, even in the labs, they let you go there to try your own experiments and shit. I loved the system. I learned some interesting things, like decision theory was like a unit all on its own, and it was like a form of mathematics. It was one of my favorite forms of mathematics. So yeah, I'd say the IGCSE system is also pretty cool.
What are some of the things you learned in IGCSE that would benefit you in terms of being an entrepreneur?
Wow, that's a good question.
Did they teach you anything in regards to strategy or negotiation? Or just interacting.
I don't think any school teaches that really.
No, I don't think you'd learn that by virtue of being in like another nationality's education.
You know, this might be a bit controversial, but I think the most valuable type of school there is after high school really is trade school. It might sound like Kazi ya Mkono in Kenya, but then really those are the people who are well equipped to go into the workforce because they're focused on their particular industry. Because trade school isn't just woodworking and stuff like that. There's other things as well, plumbing, electrical work and all that stuff.
And it's probably more valuable to the economy than happiness studies and gender studies.
Look, sexology.
This is part of my argument earlier about the way knowledge has kept fracturing. So that eventually we're going to have infinite categories where not only is it impossible to know everything, it is also impossible to know every category of everything. It's like, for example, over time, we have feminist studies, we have gender studies. Now, it also shows like another aspect of this where we're also getting more like degree courses that are farther and farther removed from the actual society and what actually happens on the ground.
Because I recently explored something called oceanography, which wasn't a thing until which wasn't a thing until the the early 1900s, like 1940s. Funny enough, they came to realize how important the ocean is. And that's something that's very recent. So you never know. You don't know what you don't know. Happiness studies might be the next big frontier for humanity. That's my argument.
Ramsey, what do you think the thought process should be when somebody is looking to pursue a degree?
Pursue something that's valuable to you. I would say follow the what is
Yellow Brick Road, Koinange Street.
No, there's this like Japanese principle of oh my god.
Oh, man.
This is a regression back to childhood. Yeah, it's like Japanese.
But Japanese culture is actually so cool. When I was a kid, I did a little bit of martial arts. And it was quite cool. You learn about kata. Budo. No, I did taekwondo. But as an adult, actually quite recently, I tried doing a little bit of karate.
Ikigai. It's ikigai.
So before you speak on ikigai, just a little bit of, because when you taught martial arts, especially if it's done the traditional way, you learn in the traditional language. What have you done?
I actually started with karate.
Shotokan. So you know about kata.
Yeah, I know about the
and
kata.
Komite. And kobudo.
Yeah.
That's using weapons.
But you know, there's some very good elements from that, like what is this called again? I think the Budokan or something. The Budo.
Yeah.
Or those like 10 commandments of like a martial artist.
And you learn a lot of when you do martial arts. It's a discipline actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like the concept I was saying was ikigai. I think you should use the concept of ikigai, which is in the course.
Ikigai,
just explain
the way ikigai works. It's a concept about like achieving like complete equilibrium and balance in your life, so you feel fulfilled. It's like think of your life as involving like 4 different spheres, right? So the first is, or like 4 different circles. Like the first is what you love. The second is what you're good at. The third is what you can be paid for, and the fourth is what the world needs. So if you mix what you love with what the world needs, then you're gonna find your mission. Because I love to do this and the world needs it. I have a mission to make sure I do more of this for the world.
But you see, you haven't defined Ikigai though.
Yeah, so Ikigai is that concept
basically
about how to achieve balance between these 4 areas of your life. If you mix what you can be paid for with what the world needs, that's when you get a vocation, like for example being a teacher. If you mix what you can be paid for with what you're good at, you get a profession like being a doctor or something.
Ramsey,
like that.
There's also a disconnect slightly because a lot of people normally grow up and become young adults without realizing actually what they are good at or what they would even want to become. Without being exposed to certain conversations, without having gone through some experiences, you may be left at a state of limbo where you don't know exactly what you want to do with your life. And so such a person, how would you even explain or direct them to go about finding what they want and they're even able to know and get better at before even choosing a path?
Well, I would tell them to try everything. You know, join the scout movement in your school. Go to the
try some ropes. They'll help you with your BDSM.
School choir. Yeah, try computers. Go try to learn computers. Try to do a bit of woodworking.
Imagine BDSM with a scout.
It's only by
escape those knots.
BDSM what?
With a scout. They know how to tie the ropes. You'll never.
We did this on a previous episode.
John, how about somebody trying to learn a new language?
It's actually somewhat easy to grasp, but then it can become really complex.
Is it the greatest invention?
We're talking about it with Ramsey this morning, how language might just be the greatest invention. It might be something that distinguishes us from the animals, because really, we can attach meaning to certain sounds, like Ramsey. That sound represents a whole identity.
You just make a noise.
But just major on that thought a little bit. When you say invention, does that mean there exists a period where humans existed and there was no language?
I mean, we evolved from animals without language.
But there still was a level of communication. And that communication that existed, wouldn't you not have called it language? Whether it was noises...
I mean, absolutely, it is language. Yeah. It's a primitive form of language. Of course, all animals can communicate. And if you define language communication...
No. Here's the thing. It can be, all sounds are not language. Even the sounds we used to make are not language, because language is a structured form and agreed upon conventions. Unlike cats don't meow towards each other. In fact, cats only meow when there's humans around. So there's no structure to it.
They talk to each other.
They just meow. It might just be like an inflection or something that will signal to the other cat that the other one is mad. But really, there's no consensus. And that makes it not a language. So once we started forming like a structured system of sharing and conveying information, then you can call it a language. It's structured, it's systematized.
What I was trying to say when we were having this discussion in the morning is that language, the biggest thing about human language is it has this powerful system of symbolic representation. So for example, if I make a certain noise, that noise represents Jean. And if I draw a certain symbol, that symbol represents Jean, like when I write your name down. And so because I can attach sounds and symbols to concrete things, I can also attach the same sounds and symbols to abstract things. Like, if I know I can differentiate between the feeling of love and hate and the feeling of pain and so on, I can attach a symbol to the concept of the number 1, the number 2, and so on. And because language allows us to label things, it allows us to think in powerful ways where we can take these abstract symbols and combine them in new ways. Like I was telling Jean that without language, I might not be able to have a pretty cool imagination. Like I can represent Jean in my head, even though Jean himself can't fit in my head. And I can represent, I can represent the famous porn star Alexis Texas in my head.
I prefer your example earlier with Hillary Clinton.
By the same token, I can also imagine Jean fucking Alexis Texas or Hillary Clinton. Like that has allowed me to mix and match these representations in a unique way that gives me something. And that's how language helps highly with thinking.
Something as sort of a gift for Cliff, who does not drink. This is the last one, so I will not mention any more drinks.
Yeah.
So this is Heineken 0.0. No alcohol. It has 100%. It's also 100% non-alcoholic.
Yeah.
So I'd like Cliff to sample this on the clean one and then tell us what you think. Because Cliff doesn't drink, so it'll be interesting to hear some more.
Have you heard of the...
Ramsey,
yeah.
just before we got that, does that mean that if you didn't have any concept of language in your head, your thinking and creativity would be limited?
It would be impacted for sure. It's like, here's the thing. Have you ever heard of the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis?
No, I haven't.
It's the relativity of language. It says that the language of a community or a culture actually influences how that culture thinks. So the fact that Swahili, for example, with its uniqueness is the way it is, it affects how we think. Like, for example, the Swahili language has no words, it has no differentiation between genders. There's no he or she. Alikuja, akaenda. You see, but in English we differentiate gender, and they also found that people who speak one moment. Okay. They also found that people who speak languages with a lot more words to describe color, like a lot more words for different colors, are better able to tell the subtle differences between different colors than people who speak languages that have fewer words.
And before we skip that, the funny thing about languages not having different genders, they don't even have transgenders. That's the funny thing. So is it like a Western concept? No, really, is there like a Western concept? Because otherwise they don't exist in African languages. There's no they for representing one person.
Yeah.
So transgender, what is it called? Transgender is all this LGBTQ agenda is clearly a Western thing because it was never
John, this must be an acquired taste, probably.
You don't like it? It tastes like beer, I suppose.
Yeah.
It grows on you.
Yeah, like a fungus.
I mean, if he doesn't like drinking alcohol, there's no way he's ever going to appreciate beer.
Especially, but this one is usually good if you like beer without the alcohol. Because for me,
the grape juice is pretty cool.
For me, I find it too sweet. I lived for 4 years without any kind of alcohol or whatever, just drinking non-alcoholic beer. This was one of my favorites.
Did you have a minimal sugar intake?
Yes. More or less, yeah.
Yeah, so like, I was just saying, languages can also impact your ability to think. Swahili doesn't have words for certain abstract concepts.
But you know what?
English does.
We talked about this, and you like to shit on African languages compared to Western ones. And I was like, okay, what you're saying is true.
Remember shitting. Me? Shit.
Well, let's just agree that there was a foul smell coming from your theory. So I was saying that yes, it's true that there's some things you can't express in Swahili, but Swahili also has some ways of condensing a lot of information into one word. What's the English word for chota maji?
Fetch water?
No, that's not correct. What if it's from a tap? You're not fetching it from anywhere.
Drawing.
But then Swahili condenses every version of the word fetch water, whether it's from the river, whether it's from the tap, into one word.
It's like a shorthand.
Exactly. So it's really clever in those ways as well.
I mean, yeah, you could argue that. But then there's also like research that shows that language might also affect things like memory. And so if you have like more language to define and differentiate between different scenarios with the same thing, it gives you more like bricks, building blocks to be able to build things in your memory and hold them longer. So if you're gonna have a shorthand for all the different ways you can, get water, you might
It's not bad. You keep tasting it. It's
your memory might be affected or something.
And a unique fact about language or accents is that an accent is simply somebody speaking a language using the rules of a different language.
Whoa.
Wait, what?
That's a deep thought.
An accent. It's simply somebody speaking one language using the rules of another language.
And a lot of people in the comments like to say we have accents, but really it's just that we don't have the Kenyan accent. Because you don't realize it, but once you go abroad or anywhere else, you realize there's actually a Kenyan accent.
Hence, this is the perfect example I was trying to tell you earlier. Yeah. A fish doesn't see water, just like you don't see air. When you are speaking, you don't think you have an accent, but everyone else does. You're blind to your own... You get my point?
Yeah, I get your point,
yeah.
But then think about it that way, because there's also a Kenyan accent. Even
is there a Kenyan accent?
Yeah, I mean...
is there specifically a Nairobi accent?
Yeah, there's a... I'm sure there is. Like the time I was in Tanzania, we're having...
There's definitely a Bungoma accent.
There's a time... Yeah. You remember Luya Super Mario? I don't know if Cliff knows about Luya Super Mario.
No.
Do we repeat the stereotypical racist?
Yeah.
So basically we were joking about how, imagine what Luya Super Mario would look like. He would be like dressed like a watchman. You know how Mario is like a handsome. He would be running around with his rungu asking for bribes and like,
just before you kill The last 3 Watchmen I've had was
You have bananas and everything.
I don't know. That sounds.
And then he jumps the
Super Mario's food for him is chickens.
turtles, he jumps the ugali.
It's so fucking tribal.
Super
Oh my
tribalist.
god.
But that's the way Super Mario for it.
This is just ingratiate.
You said he wouldn't be called Mario, would be called Rapando Mukoi. Constant Rapando.
This is just gratuitous.
Tribal. Anyways, don't stone us if you're from Kisumu.
We're engorging ourselves in it. But yeah, anyway, that was the gist of it about language. Like, it's such a powerful thing if you think about it. It's like it really helps facilitate human thought.
There's another thought we had this morning. You remember,
human intelligence.
Last thought before we go to another topic. Will something replace language in the future? The more humans become
I think
complex,
it's just the evolution of language.
It's very hard
evolution.
for me to
But I imagine,
understand that. Like,
No,
what do you
here's
mean
the
will
thing.
something replace
Here's the
language
thing.
in the future?
There's,
Like, whatever replaces language will be language.
Will be language.
But here's the thing: there's language has to be spoken or written, right? That's part of the definition.
If we are all interlinked with a very high,
What is that thing called? Singularity.
Singularity.
Yeah, that
and our brains are all connected,
We're connected
and we
to
can
the-
communicate in a
yeah.
way that's different from the typical speech.
We can maybe like send brain waves or
Yeah.
something like that. That's a new form of communication, which is not language.
I'm just trying
Let's
to
catch you in 2040 when that happens. No, 2040 is too close. Let's say 2100.
I'm just trying to figure out, like, even if you're beaming your thoughts to me, how are your thoughts going to be represented in my head? There must be some kind of internal
No, there's
language.
things you can feel. Like ants have, not just ants, but some animals have like some form of, it's like, I don't know, a kinetic sense where they can sense the presence of, or the incoming
Waves.
waves or earthquakes and tsunamis and things like that.
Wow.
So they have like a sensor. Even sharks, the way they
able
detect.
to sense like changes in the magnetic
Yeah,
field around
even
here.
sharks, the way they detect electrical vibrations. The one, even humans. In school, we're taught that we have 5 senses. We actually have like 12, and one of them is.
Could you enumerate these senses?
I can't enumerate all of them, but one of them that's most people don't know about is called proprioception, which is
proprioception.
no proprioception is pronounced proprioception. I'm 100%
Okay.
sure.
What's that?
It's just the ability to know where your body parts are relative to, like in space. Like here's an example. If I close my eyes, I'll know my left hand is here and I can reach it even without seeing it.
Right.
Yeah, I know where my body parts are in space. That's proprioception.
I think there's also a sense related to
Nociception.
your ear.
Wow.
And the ability to right yourself, like you can balance stay
the
upright
equilibrium,
because of the equilibrium.
Another thing is nociception, which I believe is the sensation of pain. Some people don't have the sensation of pain. Do you know that?
Yeah.
And that's a very dangerous thing. Actually, pain is
There should probably be like a subcategory there. There's the sensation of an itch. Do you know how fucking weird itches are? It's like
especially
nobody
in
understands
genitals.
what causes itches.
Especially in your genitals, right?
Well, everywhere, really. It's like literally
Itches.
an itch is just like your nerves just start like firing and tingling out of nowhere. You know, it's like they're fucking malfunctioning. You're like, what the fuck causes that?
very hard
I find
to
that
catch.
pretty interesting.
Yeah.
You
Maybe
know?
an imbalance in sensory parts in your body.
We had an interesting conversation as well this morning about like, well, that might happen in 2100, but now those were kids who were born today will experience that. Now imagine if you have a kid who's like likely to pioneer that next age, and then they get switched at birth. Like you're at the hospital, and then you're supposed to have an Albert Einstein, and you end up having a Steve Simpson.
Because every time you think about being every time you think about being switched at birth, you think about it from the perspective of the child. It's like, oh my god, I could have been in a rich neighborhood. Now I'm bringing up in Kibera.
But think about the parents.
Think about the parents. Imagine your child just grows up, they're failing. They got 100 in the recent KCPE. Their brain seems broken. You're like,
what's wrong with this kid?
There's no way.
There's no way.
Is that a thought that both of you have had at some point? Where you're a kid and you're like, was I probably
Was I-
switched?
Yeah.
I haven't had it because I look so much like my siblings, but then at the same
It's
time,
hard
I
to
was
escape.
like, why am I different from these two here? Why?
Like mentally and shit.
Can you imagine that? Because most babies look the same, actually. Really, like
So they're really easy to switch.
they're really easy to switch. But don't start a business based on that. Though.
Like, but that's the thing. On the other hand, you could also be really lucky and luck out. Like maybe your child was the fucking retard, and then he got switched, and now another family has to deal with him, and you get like the fucking
But you know,
ex-president of
there's
Kenya.
an easy way to deal with that, which is just have a ton of babies. One of them will be successful. That's a strategy that's used in the village. And I think the richest woman in Africa came from a family of 54 kids. Can you imagine how hard that guy was fucking? Like every day is like, one of you will give me my...
It must have been by different women, right? I can't imagine one woman.
That was probably a president.
That guy had raised, probably. You never know. Because if you have 54 kids, you best believe one of them is going to be successful.
I guess that's why the highest birth rates are among the poorest, societies.
They're trying their luck. It's the lotto.
Actually,
it's like literally like the animal world. If you think about it, it's a bit degrading because that's literally the strategy animals use in the wild. They have a lot of cubs because they know... Mice. Quite a few of them will die. So
especially creatures with very little like defense mechanisms. Rabbits have babies like no one's business. Those things, you might think rabbits are cute from the cartoons and everything, but then my mom used to have rabbits. She still has them actually. And then you go and like, oh, that's a cute animal. That thing will pee. In those 5 seconds you're looking at it, will pee, turn around and fuck the other animal that's next to it. It'll show you I'm not as cute as you think you are. The only thing it doesn't do is grab a cigarette and start smoking. Because literally those animals are nasty.
Fucking Bugs Bunny.
They pee. It's like
you think I'm cute?
Actually, it's like Bugs Bunny. Bugs Bunny was the perfect representation of a rabbit. It's just obnoxious in your face,
annoying, and you can't get at it no matter how much you.
They have very little defenses, so the only way to stay alive is to fuck.
The study of rabbits was the first
rabbitology
noted. The study of rabbit reproduction was the first noted source. I think. Well, at least as far as Leonardo Fibonacci is concerned, that led to the Fibonacci sequence, and that's because the way the Fibonacci sequence works, and it appears a lot even in nature and stuff. It's like it's a sequence of numbers. It starts with 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 5 and then 8 and then 13. Like every number is the sum of the two previous ones. So you've got 1 and 1, and then 2 is 1 plus 1, and then 3 is 2 plus 1, and then 5 is 3 plus 2, and then 8 is 5 plus 3, and so on. And that's how rabbits reproduce, because you have one rabbit and then another rabbit, and then that's 2 rabbits, and then they have a rabbit, that's 3 rabbits. So they do commit incest as well. Then so you have 5 rabbits later. Then
rabbits do everything that you don't.
So it grows like almost exponentially. Like the population is just like left like that, grows almost exponential because they fuck so much.
Sounds like R. Kelly. Maybe the R in R. Kelly stands for rabbit.
That took a while to register.
And he pees on you too as well.
That took a while to register.
That's a spirit animal.
Because he pees and he fucks. And he pees where he fucks too.
In your vicinity as well.
What?
In your vicinity as well.
Yeah.
In general vicinity. I mean, everyone pees and fucks, but then if he doesn't close to you, that's when it becomes an issue.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, the issue with peeing is just the proximity. If you peed close to the girl or like near the girl, it wouldn't be an issue, but he peed on her.
Yeah.
It's more about the direction.
I think the age matters also in the fact that she witnessed a man's penis. Like Louis C.K. when he just like exposes
the
penis.
funny thing is...
I don't know how he does it. I don't know why every time someone says like a man exposes penis or flash, like I imagine a man walking in a raincoat and he's completely naked and then he sees someone like, just tries to scare him.
But the funny thing is, she had already experienced a man's penis when she came out of her dad's, urethra or something like that. So we've all experienced a man's penis. As gay as that sounds.
That is the most far-fetched shit I've ever.
Yeah.
I think we should close this. Do meme review.
Yeah, we need to talk about memes. There's something about memes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So like I was talking about the concept.
The power of memes.
Yeah. There were two concepts. So the first one was something called Moloch. So I was telling Jean about like a blog I like to read. It's called Slate Star Codex, and it had like it's a really smart like psychiatrist or some psychologist, but he writes about a lot of things, economics,
sounds like a hard
philosophy, that kind of stuff. So here's what he said.
Slate Star
Just give me a moment.
Slate Star Codex. Sounds like a hardware in Kisumu, doesn't it?
Let's start. So the concept of Moloch. Moloch was a Canaanite god, right? It was a Canaanite deity to whom child sacrifices were made, symbolizing the idea of a system demanding sacrifices, right?
President Ruto's system.
Yeah, because they're needing to help them fight wars and stuff. So the concept of Moloch, in the context of the study of memes, refers to a particular way of understanding how certain systems or societal constructs can inadvertently lead to negative or destructive outcomes, despite the individual intentions within those systems being rational or benign. So there's so many different forms. So consider the race to the bottom, right? If or the prisoner's dilemma. Let's say you have two prisoners, right? And
I have more than that.
the police officers tell them that if they go to each prisoner, because they're in separate rooms, they can't talk to each other. Go to each prisoner and tells the prisoner, like, you're a prisoner. I'll be like, if you don't rat on your friend, I'm going to give you if you don't rat on your friend and he doesn't rat on you, I'm going to give you 1 year each, right? If you rat on your friend and he doesn't rat on you, I'm going to give you 5 years. And if you don't rat on your friend and he rats on you, I'm going to give you 10 years, right? And, you know, like, basically that's it. So, like, every player needs to, like, weigh his options, right? So if I decide to stay quiet, I have to trust that the other guy is going to stay quiet, because if he rats on me, I'm going to get 10 years instead of, you know, the 1 year, right? And I don't know if I can trust him. So I'm going to take the best option, which is to be safe and rat on him, because if I rat on him and he doesn't rat on me, then
you get 5 years.
Exactly, right? So I'm gonna rat on him, and then if he rats on you, I think you both get like you actually supposed, if you rat on him, you're supposed to get like a lower sentence than 5 years, because the idea is if you both rat on each other, you get the 5 years. Like, it's kind of like the somewhere in the middle, right?
No, you said if you both rat on each other, you get 1 year.
No, if you're both quiet. If you both
quiet,
don't rat.
1 year.
So the idea here is we both end up ratting on each other because we can't trust each other. Despite each of us knowing that the best strategy is to stay quiet, because of
everybody starts looking for themselves.
Exactly.
So 10 years.
Another way it happens is if you look at like nations like amassing weapons and spending on defense. Every country spends quite a lot of money on defense, which is money that could have been spent in education, infrastructure, and all of that. So, of course, we know the best situation for all the world is for every country to get rid of its weapons and no country to have a standing army and no weapons, no military, and then we have a peaceful world, right?
That's an ideal world.
Yeah, but we all know that's the best solution. Yeah. But here's the thing. Every time, if any one country decided that it's going to, you know, follow this path and get rid of it, it stands a risk of being attacked by another country that didn't get rid of its military. And therefore, every country may not want to spend that money on the military, but it has to, because it can't trust every other country. So while everyone agrees that the situation is shit, it's bad, no one individually can stop it, even though everyone has like a rational incentive.
So how does that connect to memes?
So this system of things where like in any place where you've got a lot of actors and there's the opportunity to sacrifice a value of yours in order to optimize your profits within that system, most people will tend to sacrifice these values until they have no values left to sacrifice. So we all end up living in a world where we're all unhappy, but no one individual can do anything different because they're kind of like stuck in a competition for survival. That is the concept of Moloch. It's like capitalism, government corruption. You know, like the way if you might go into politics and you want to be, you want to be a virtuous politician, but if you're virtuous, you stand being beaten by a corrupt politician. So you have to join. Now, everybody agrees corruption is shit, but no one can stop corruption despite everyone having the best intention. That's Moloch. That's the demon. It symbolizes, the one that used to take children as sacrifices, because in this case, it's taking our values as sacrifice. The sacrifice. We are sacrificing our integrity. Or with the prisoners, we're sacrificing our loyalty and so on. So humans are kind of stuck in this trap. That's a meme now. That's like something that's just latched onto us.
You know what else is a meme?
What else?
A dwarf racing against the camel. It's very intense.
Wow, that was a fitting conclusion to
the top right corner.
What I believe was a very, 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 very long rambling by me.
So this is like a very intense sport.
It's about don't play this. Why is a dwarf racing against a camel? Who thought this up?
But look at how intense it gets.
Come on, Timmy! Come on!
I wonder how real that is actually.
The last guy is Usain Bolt's younger dwarf brother. Oh my god.
He's like supercharged, he's like the Energizer Bunny.
He is running so fast.
He's the Energizer Pygmy.
I saw literally the funniest video today. This new trend on TikTok where it's like the girl he blocked. and then they show like, it's like one of those glow up videos. It's like the girl he blocked, and then they show you when ulko parara, and then the girl
based on your feet.
The girl now, then they show you in a glow up and shit. I saw one where literally there was no glow up. Just watch this.
It just got brighter. You got a better phone. Let me see it. I can't see it. Oh, that's okay. It's taking forever. She was like a primary school teacher.
I sure this is somewhere they were like, I guarantee you those two pictures were taken on the same day.
Just in different outfits. Same old shit. Just a different day.
I think I have one. Here's the thing, right? 3 black roosters are standing on a tree, right?
2 black hawks.
I need you to do this. I need you to do this like marathon question. 3 black roosters standing on a tree, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many beaks do they have?
3.
How many legs do they have?
6.
How many wings do they have?
6.
Okay, and right under that tree, there's a white cat. How many beaks does it have?
No.
How many children does it have?
How would I know?
So you know a lot about black cock, but you know nothing about white pussy.
Black rooster sitting on a fence. How many beaks they got on?
How many what?
Beaks.
What?
Yeah. How many wings?
Wings? 8?
Yeah. How many feet?
8?
Okay. You
What?
got a white cat. He's looking up at them roosters. How many teeth that cat got?
I don't know.
I see you know more about black cock than you do white pussy.
That's nice.
That's literally a video.
That was a setup.
That's a video I saw on TikTok. I was like, why show them the video? Just perform it.
Yeah. Perform the black cock dance.
I feel like we're genuinely exhausted.
No, there was one more I think I had. But wait, did I just close my Instagram app? Wow.
Genuinely high. Very high.
High exhausted.
And genuinely hungry for that shawarma. I just can't stop staring at that
Look at
brown
this.
paper bag.
Speaking of cats.
When she think having a furry cat gonna stop me, like I wouldn't take a rat tail comb to it and go to work. A furry pussy.
And then there's a continuation of that from another meme, which was hilarious. Let me look for it. Shit. That was the one was there. Where is this? No, here it is. Where is it? 1, 2, 3.
Oh yeah, Cliff. In the morning with Jean, there's this thing I was telling him. Do you know there's a parasite that lives in a cat's stomach, right?
Found it. You started. Scroll up and down. Oh, wait, go down. Wait. Down there.
Me, babe, I just shaved. The Mona Lisa. Wow.
Wait, did you see that?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, it's like the scrotum. Yeah, so like I was telling you, do you know there's a parasite that lives in a cat's stomach, and that's the only place it can reproduce. And then it gets passed out of the cat via the feces. The feces get washed into the sewers, and then down there, in the water they get consumed by like rats, right? And then the parasite matures in the rat's body and then travels to its brain and switches off all the fear centers of the rat, so it's not afraid of cats. Then the rat is convinced to go towards cats and even fight them, like it stops being afraid of them. And then it gets killed by the cats, they eat the rat, and then the parasite goes back into the cat in order to reproduce again.
Sure. There's a parasite in cats.
It's called toxoplasma.
It gets out through excretion.
It gets out through fecal defecation, yes.
Does the parasite affect the cat in any way?
No, that's where it reproduces. It just reproduces in the cat's body, and then the young ones go out through the cat's feces.
All cats? Or is it just
I mean, it's common among cats. I don't know if it's in all cats, but it's common
So
among
for
cats.
us to avoid that disease, they just have to avoid eating shit.
I mean, they can't avoid because the shit is gonna disintegrate. It's gonna be in the water, so it's gonna contaminate the water. So rats in the sewers are gonna, consume the water and the shit in some way, and then they're gonna get brainwashed into loving cats or like wanting to go and confront cats. Like I showed you the video on YouTube of like rats running at cats and jumping at them, and the cat, of course, is gonna kill the rat and eat it. So it's like the parasite mind controls the rat to make it go attack cats so it can be eaten, so the parasite can get back into the cat's body in order to reproduce again. And the cycle continues. So literally, rats and cats are just, another creature's life cycle.
Do you feel like there's a balance in life? Like everything is balanced? Every good...
Balance in... What the fuck is wrong?
We were just about to close the show, so I wanted to...
Why would you say balancing?
That's one balance.
Is everything a joke?
Guys, it has been great. This has been episode 35.
Well, I know this show wasn't balanced. To answer your question.
Oh.
Alright, this has been John, and of course, thank you.
Let me do a little promo a bit. So again, my name is Cliff, founder of PodSTART. You can follow us on Instagram at PodSTART Studios. We work with this amazing gentleman, ThinkShack. Because right now we work with various interesting people, different kind of podcasts, different vibe from ThinkShack.
Why are you laughing though?
Imagine if a bunch of stammerers started a podcast.
Ekodida. Ekodida.
Those shows will be painful to watch.
Painful or hilarious?
And the podcasting community in the country is quite big.
Yeah,
it's bigger than you would think. There are literally thousands of podcasts out there.
Weirdly, this is a bad thing because it makes it harder to gain discoverability. There's so many podcasts.
But that means there's more, what's the word?
The competition is stiffer.
It shows the size of the industry is also big. There are people who got into podcasting because of ThinkShack. So by you people becoming podcasters, you made the industry become a little bit bigger.
Spread the wave of sickness across the country.
The syphilis.
People dumb enough to start a podcast.
Toxical what?
But it's enjoyable as
the
fuck.
toxicoplasma.
Toxoplasma.
Toxoplasma.
Yeah, of podcasts.
So thank you for paying attention to our diseased podcast. We hope
And you can read some of my business articles on Medium. Search Cliff Amani. And I'm also a consultant brand strategist, so you can hit me up on that.
Yeah, he's actually really good. He designed the ThinkShack logo, the new one.
We've done a lot of stuff with him. And there's more ahead.
More ahead. Happy to be here.
So this is Ramsey.
Yeah.
It's John for the second time since I already said it.
And this is Cliff Amani.
Have a good one, guys. Eat that cat. Avoid the rat.
What the fuck?
Cheers, guys.
Oh wow. Oh, that was an interesting episode.